Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to our kickoff of the 2023 Encore Palm Beach County Zoom events. Thank you all for being here. We have a great program today, and starting with Ann Bettinger and Sarah Broglie. And they are from Raymond James Health and Wellness Group, and they are going to educate us about their longevity project. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Ann. Thank you, Ann.
Good morning, everyone. We're so delighted to be here to talk to all of you today and answer questions about longevity and all the exciting things coming with the advent of the technology and experiential living. I'm the founder of Wealth Wellness Group, a financial planning practice in Boca Raton, Florida. There are different kinds of advisors out there. Some just deal with investments, whereas we do comprehensive financial planning. And we have a 3-person multi-generational practice. We focus on legacy, longevity, transition planning. Transition meaning it could be transitioning from working full-time to work optional lifestyle. It could be a sale of a business. It could be someone passing away and working with the inheritors. We help prepare people and make a smooth transition to the fulfilling lives and continuing on and helping with the multi-generations. So today, we're going to be specifically talking about the longevity and helping us envision what that looks like if you're already retired, all the exciting things coming down the road. And life expectancy has improved. I'm 60, and I remember many years ago, people living, if you got to be 70, 72, so globally, it's increasing, and now we've gone from 66.3 years in 2000, projected to be in 2099, 81.8, almost 82 years old. So not only do we have to think about our financial world, we're also thinking about health and Plan B and Plan C and all of that, which is kind of what the longevity planning we're delving into with that. Caregiving, what does that mean? And it's not just as we age. I mean, at any age, you can break your ankle, you can have hip replacement like I did and need care. And who's going to do that for you? Do you have a team in place? Do you know who to call? Are there outside resources we'll be sharing with you? We can help walk you through, go through this process of helping you establish these people in your life that can help when the time is needed. And then housing. That's another area that we think about. How do you intend to live? Are you going to age in place? Do you need to modify your home? I'm certified aging in place by the National Home Builders Association. I do understand universal design and making your home safe, a place for you and family and friends to visit. You may decide at some point you want or need to move somewhere else with possibly more care, or you just don't want to deal with the day-to-day in your home. There are people that help match you with senior living or places that would meet your needs, whatever they are, whatever you've identified. So we can help talk you through those possible options. And right now, you may be fine in your home, but you may think about what it might look like if I were to move. Maybe you identify some local communities that would be acceptable to you in case that time came and it was critical time-wise that you moved. So it's good to kind of think about it ahead of time, and we can help and provide resources for that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Broglie. I'm Ann's counterpart. And in addition to the immense considerations she's already mentioned regarding caregiving and housing, in addition to that, there are a lot of things to consider that might be under the surface. What is my purpose in this next chapter of life? And I think Rosemary has some great resources, as you know, through Encore to share about that. Other concerns might be replacing income. Does that mean I might get a side gig or a part-time job? Or what does healthcare cost planning look like? And so we really want to pose all of these considerations and let you know you're not alone in this process. Ann and I deal with these conversations truly on an everyday basis, and we feel like knowledge is power. So being able to share some of the things we have experienced and some solutions and resources to make you more comfortable with that process. Getting a little more specific into caregiving. so the AARP 2020 report actually shared that around 24 million people have provided unpaid care to those 50 and older. And so if you are not a caregiver yourself, you probably know one or have experienced a relationship with one. The Alzheimer's Association estimates caregiving to be about 18 billion hours of unpaid care to those with dementia or Alzheimer's. And so we really want to look more in depth about what caregiving means and what resources are available. If you're looking at the graph, it shows what financial impacts are imposed by those caregiving. And so some caregivers have maybe stopped saving money, took on a little more debt, left some of their bills unpaid, or borrowed from friends and family. And these are things that are not regularly addressed, and so we want to bring up the topic. Elena is a resource to Ann and I. She is with our Raymond James Home Office in the Longevity Department, and she's actually going to go a little bit further into caregiving.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you everyone for joining today and for having us. Caregiving is where my heart lies within longevity planning. Longevity planning includes so many resources. We'll touch on all of them today, but where my passion really lies is the caregiving. Dementia is something that runs in my family, and it is a very prominent source of many years of caregiving for many individuals. 14 million Americans are predicted to have Alzheimer's by 2050. This is impacting many of us, and you can live a really good life. You want to make sure you have the right care network. You have the right people there to support you if something like this happens to you or a loved one. You want to make sure that you are prepared in every way possible so that you can take it on and continue to enjoy and thrive through life despite a diagnosis. A diagnosis, it doesn't end whatever you can make of your life. You can still continue to live with that diagnosis and to spend time with loved ones and be connected to your family and friends. So Sarah shared a few of the statistics on how prevalent this is. I just like to touch on dementia specifically because it is close to me and my family, and there's ways that you can make sure you stay healthy as well and keep your mind engaged, which I'm sure Rosemary will share with you as well. One of my favorites is the MIND diet. That is a certain diet that's really high in whole grains and nuts and fruits, especially blueberries, very healthy for your mind and your heart as well. So another factor that ties hand in hand with caregiving, but is a whole area in itself, is housing and home care. So only about 1% of U.S. homes have the 5 basic design criteria to happily and healthily support aging in place. And this is something that a lot of people don't realize, given that most people do want to stay in their home their entire life. They want to stay in that exact home. And sometimes if you don't put a plan in place, changes have to happen very urgently. You weren't proactive with that planning, so it adds a little bit more stress to you and your loved ones. I'm thinking from experience here, my grandma recently broke her hip. Luckily, she had a full hip replacement and amazing recovery. I mean, she was astonishing all of the doctors with how well she was moving around just after a few days, and especially after a couple weeks. So that was something we did not expect. She had a fall, she broke her hip, and my mom ended up moving in with her. That wasn't necessarily my mom's first choice. So if that had been a proactive conversation, maybe, I call her Nanny, maybe Nanny would have moved in with my mom at the time. So having that proactive planning, knowing what everyone's wishes are, and having a plan in place, maybe you never need to put that plan into action, and that's wonderful. You had the peace of mind all of those years that you did have a plan in place. I'll pass it back to Ann on this slide as well, as I know she might want to add a few pieces here with her experience and expertise.
Thank you. Yeah, looking at homes and the universal design, which I mentioned earlier, and steps and grab bars in my mother's house. She's 89, living in Virginia, 2-story house, 3 acres, and a 95-pound German Shepherd. So I've lived this with my own family. My sister broke her ankle. People coming to visit have to get in the house. Well, it was all steps. So we put a ramp in, grab bar in the bathroom so that anyone could grab if they needed to. We changed lighting outside of the home so it was dusk to dawn. We changed some locks on doors. We made modifications, not we, but her friends, or we hired someone to do it. And fortunately, this was about 7-8 years ago, and it came in very handy for many reasons, carrying dog food up, people coming at night trying to get in and out. We also changed a step and put a ramp. It was a 2 steps inside the Florida room. We also put like a baby ramp there and then a big one leading outside of the house. So making a modification so that your loved ones and everyone can be there is very important. The financial part of that, she isn't forced to move. She doesn't want to. So just keeping people independent, I think, as long as possible in a safe environment, I would want that. And I think most of us would, if that's our choice to live in our homes or condos. I understand that, and helping from our role as financial planners to make sure that money and that, and then we at our team also work with the families on all these other areas and making sure they have the resources. And Encore is an example of that. All the resources they provide for people. I'm in a study at FAU, Florida Atlantic University, on gut and brain health. Elena was just talking about that, the Alzheimer's and all that. They're finding that sometime if your gut is not right, it's affecting your brain. So could we prevent things from happening? Because I don't think any of us want to end up in a memory care unit. Helping us live at home, and that is really important. And then putting your plan together. We do a plan online. We use a very comprehensive software. We have scenarios that we can put together showing what if you did do some long-term care insurance, or what if you didn't, how long are you going to live? What if you live to be 110? Let's not just plan for you living to 85. Let's look if you did live longer and look what your plan looks like. Okay, let's look at contingencies. Also, other people in your family, maybe you're 60 like me, I have an older family member. Are they taken care of? Because if they're not, you could end up financially or physically caregiving or paying out of your pocket with your retirement savings to take care of them. So these are all things that we think about. What might happen, or what do we want to plan for? And then help you at least think about it and address it is really important. We put together for our clients a personal financial organizer, which is a notebook. And it's got tabs, not just for taxes and deeds and documents and warranties, but also for your living will, your trust, your regular will, your durable powers of attorney, all of those things. Also, if you have a lockbox or something, where is it? The key, making sure your trustee, your advocate knows where that is in case you're in the hospital or you're in an accident. They can find this and have all your important documents. And here we get hurricanes. What if a hurricane comes? You can get your grab and go notebook with your homeowner's insurance, all the other types of insurance you have, and you can take it with you to where you're evacuating. So another way to plan, not just on the computer, we have a vault where you can store things. If you're overseas and you need a copy of a document, if you can log into your Raymond James account, you can get that document. So just helping people understand all the resources out there and then utilizing them, super important.
Expanding into longevity planning, everything Anne was just sharing falls into this ribbon. This is our longevity planning ribbon. It's showing you that you are going to go through different phases of life. You're going to put together that plan. You're working with Anne. You're using the planning software, and you have a really great financial plan in place. You feel good. Maybe then you're working to protect your identity, protect yourself with long-term care insurance, protect yourself with the right health insurance that's most cost-effective for you and your needs. Maybe there's then a care episode, whether it be for you or a loved one, and there's now caregiving. You're going to go back to the planning stage. Maybe there's a financial impact on that caregiving, or maybe it made you realize, I wasn't interested in long-term care planning, but now I am. So you can jump back and forth among these segments of longevity planning. Thrive is, I feel, the reason you all are here today with Rosemary and Encore Palm Beach County. Their primary focus is to help everyone thrive, live a long, happy, healthy life, which is what I've wished for on my birthday candle since I was a kid. So that it will be a fun component for us to talk about today. And then finally, we have Share, and this is that legacy planning aspect. This is that notebook that Anne and Sarah and their team will put together for you to help you make sure you have everything in place, shared with the right people, and accessible by you as well. So bottom line is that longevity planning is helping you to answer tomorrow's big questions today, helping to increase that peace of mind and overall quality of life.
Thanks, Elena. So getting into each of these items on the ribbon into detail, we don't confuse anyone with how many times we're switching back and forth between the three of us. I will be sharing the title and overall view of each item of the ribbon, and then Anne, Elena, and even Rosemary will go into some of the resources available in each of these areas of planning. So starting off with the first one in the ribbon, which is plan. Anne touched on this. We want to portray as financial advisors is historically our conversations have been mainly tangible financial spreadsheets. And in reality, there's so many intangible items that go into your planning and our conversations. And so just being able to have that peace of mind and that purpose along with the tangibles like projections and technology and insurance and healthcare. So planning is the first step in creating our longevity resources. Secondly, we have protect, and protect comes in when we want to make sure not only your personal information is safe with theft protection and recognizing or sharing maybe some of the recent frauds that have happened so that everyone is aware of them. Fraudsters have gotten quite advanced when it comes to email marketing, clickbait, stuff like that. So being able to share that information, being able to keep yourself organized either with your physical personal financial organizer or the online resources so they can be accessed anywhere. And Elena is going to go into a little more detail on the resources available to protect what you have built for yourself.
The first one is EverSafe. This is a fraud protection service and identity theft protection service. It allows you to consolidate all of your mobile banking institutions into one dashboard to easily view your balances, and it will also track transactions across institutions. So EverSafe has smart algorithms running in the background that's learning your personal spending behavior. If something is erratic for your behavior, it may be fraudulent, they will send you an alert. A really neat feature of EverSafe is they can also send an alert to a loved one or a trusted individual in your life. This is their Trusted Advocates feature. I like to call it the extra set of eyes. Allow someone else to receive alerts on your behalf. So if you don't see the alert right away, someone else, maybe your spouse or your adult child, is letting you know, hey, this seems a little bit off, or you're missing a recurring deposit into the account. What happened here? Or it may be something like grocery spending was higher than normal this month. That is something that is a sign when we are being that extra set of eyes on our loved ones. If grocery spending is high, maybe we want to check in with the person doing the grocery shopping. Maybe you are paying for someone else to shop for you, or a family member is doing it for you. They might be throwing in some of their own groceries as well. Unfortunately, a lot of fraud does occur from people that we know, love, and trust. So EverSafe can help to make sure that you are protected. And the reverse may also occur if we are that extra set of eyes feature, and I see that, I mentioned my grandma earlier, I call Nanny. If I see Nanny's grocery spending is low this month, maybe I give her a call and I just say, hey, I'm running to the store, can I grab anything for you? I might be able to predict that her dizzy spells are acting up and she hasn't been able to make it to the store herself. She doesn't want to ask for help. She doesn't have to ask for help if I can notice that grocery spending is low. So there's some really unique features like that, and it will also monitor your identity. So it's pulling credit reports to monitor for any fraudulent activity there, and also monitoring for your information out on the dark web. So if you are worried about, your email being sold by fraudsters out on the dark web, you can track for that information, and you can customize your alerts as well. So it is very high functional, very easy to understand. It is a very nice platform. You can download an app on your phone that helps you to monitor the alerts, or you can set to receive alerts via text, voice message, or email, or all three, and you can opt to choose the email summary as well. So that keeps you on top of your information. I personally use EverSafe, and I've never had, knocking on wood, I've never had an alarming alert. I've received a couple of alerts while EverSafe was learning my behavior of, transactions over $100, was this normal? And I am easily able to go in there and okay the alert if it is not suspicious. If it is suspicious, EverSafe has a wonderful customer care team. They're available via email or phone, and they will help with understanding your alert, understanding how to navigate the platform, or even remediating if there is a fraud attack on you. They are there to help and remediate, and they are available 24/7. I'll pass it to Anne for ClearMatch.
Wonderful. Thank you. So ClearMatch encompasses not only Medicare assistance, but they can also help people under 65 that need health insurance. Think about a business owner, think about a child getting through college and needing health insurance, dental, eye. So it's an invaluable resource. You basically call them up and they have professionals that are not just brand new. They are well-trained, experienced, and you're going to share with them maybe what plan you have now, what you like about it, what you don't. If that's assuming you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, they're going to work with you from scratch to get you enrolled in Medicare, explain all the plans, the drug plans, the Medicare Advantage. They're going to go through everything with you to help you understand, number one, and it is complicated, what's out there, and making sure that you avoid the late enrollment penalties for Part B and D, all the parts of Medicare. A, which is hospital; B, which is medical; C is the Medicare Advantage plan, and then there's a Part D, which is the drug plan. Medicare supplements, Medicare Advantage, cancer, dental plans, they go through all of that with you. Then once you're enrolled, you're all set up. That happens between early October and early December. Now, you want to check each year with the professional. You call and get the same professional if you want, or you just get another one. My mother had a plan and it didn't seem like it was serving her well. So we got on the phone with Marcia, one of the ones that was recommended us, and Marcia walked us through, spent about an hour understanding my mom's needs, what she currently had, and then helping her, asking some more questions and narrowing down. Then we were on the phone again to go over everything, like, okay, we're going to switch plans. The drugs you use are going to be in this prescription drug plan. You're going to be able to go to the pharmacy at Kroger where you've been going. You don't want to change. It's going to cover all of that. And the premiums were less. The Part D, the drug, was less. So she's saving quite a few $100s a month with a different plan. Now, her medical could change and, life changes, right? If things change in her life, then we may need to change another plan. But right now, this is working for her. And I'm ever so grateful for Marcia and the time and the patience she had to spend with both of us, because at Raymond James, we do health insurance like long-term care, but we don't do regular health insurance and Medicare. So I know a lot, but it's still good to have the professional that can see all of the plans and know what questions to ask the family member to obtain the information to be able to narrow it down. And I think that's critical because there's so many options out there in plans. You don't know what to ask, and you can't see all the plans like they can. I can't tell you what a positive experience. Now, I've sent many clients and they've called themselves, they didn't include me, and they've had good feedback, but I'm just telling you from September, October of this year, how impressed I am with ClearMatch. And once again, I had a lady with 5 boys, and as they got out of school, they needed health insurance and they were helping these young adults. I had another client that was in Australia, came back to the States, had no health insurance. ClearMatch helped him search plans, get the one that was appropriate. And by the way, different states. So when he left Georgia, came back to Florida again, he needed to look at the plans again. So for health insurance. So just invaluable, the resources that are there with ClearMatch for health insurance.
Thanks for sharing those. One thing I would mention about ClearMatch, which is one of my favorites, is that it is a neutral third party. And so there's not going to be a salesperson on the other line trying to get you something that you don't need. It really is just informational. They help you put everything out to see your options. And again, knowledge is power. So being able to make an informed decision by someone who is neutral in the party is, I think, very important. Elena, is there anything you wanted to add?
I just wanted to mention that this is one of the resources that Anne and Sarah can offer to you all at no cost. So reach out to them to get connected with an agent. Marcia's a great one. There's other agents on the dedicated line as well, and there's not a cost to use this service. So even if you're pretty sure you're in the right plan, but you want to review when open enrollment comes back around, reach out to them and they can be your connector to this resource.
Yeah, great point, Elena. And I will say this is a lot of information to intake in 1 hour. And so please reach out to us if you have any questions or can't remember exactly what one of the titles of the resources are, because we know it's all new information to you. But so we have so far reviewed the plan and the resources needed to protect. Let's get a little bit more into resources around care. We talked a lot about caregiving, and there are a lot of resources available focused on health and wellness, which Anne is going to go into next.
This is not just calling your local nurses registry. Care management, I didn't know what that was until I was at the MIT Age Lab in 2016 with Dr. Joe Coughlin's group. And they said, if you're not connected and you don't have resources for your clients in care management, someone to go in, a care managers are generally registered nurses, licensed counselors, master's level workers, and your care manager will help coordinate all the aspects of your loved one's care. So maybe something happened and their health has changed. You're not exactly sure, who do we need to call? Do we need to get an assessment? Will their insurance pay? So what they do is they get to know you, the unique needs. They're going to go out and do a home assessment with the person that potentially needs care and any family members. And they're going to evaluate safety of the home as well as other care needs. They may recommend modifications to the home, which we talked about earlier, how to coordinate related home care, including contractors that are certified CAPS aging in place, nurses, companions, and aid. So they're going to put together a plan of care and make recommendations. And then they vet the care facilities. And maybe you need to go to a facility for some rehab or something like that. They're going to help do that. And then they can also check in with the family, like, how are things going a month after, or that they're going to kind of oversee the planning. So it's hiring a team of people that specialize in this care management. They know the type of aid that they might need. Do they need an RN? Could they get away with not that? They're going to help you put it together and help figure out the insurance part, how to implement the plan, and then follow up with you. So Broadspire is a national company. So no matter what state you're in, because I have clients, we have clients all over, we can recommend Broadspire. They call them and they get an expert to come out and meet the family and do the assessment, and they do a report and follow up with you. There are companies down in South Florida that I know that do the same thing, but it's nice to have a national company that's vetted through Raymond James. I might let you know, we just didn't look through the phone book and find these resources for our clients. They went through an extensive vetting process, and they continue to go through a vetting process, because the last thing we'd want to do is recommend a resource that wasn't top-notch and legitimate for clients. So that's really important. And once again, Sarah brought up with ClearMatch, they're unbiased. They're not salespeople. They're there to help the family. And Broadspire is the same way. They're there to do the assessment. Whether you choose to go with them or follow, that's up to you, but you'll pay them to come out and do the assessment.
Next, we have PinnacleCare. This ties very well with Broadspire. PinnacleCare is more on the medical side of things, whereas Broadspire is more the home healthcare side of things. So PinnacleCare, you can think of it like a healthcare concierge. This is a health advisor in your back pocket that you can call whenever you need some guidance. Personal story, I have very, very rare, I've only had them a couple times in my life, really bad vertigo spells where I almost cannot walk. And I have never received, a true diagnosis, because it always goes away pretty quickly. But I woke up a few months ago and it felt like I was rocking around on a boat. So I called some ear, nose, and throat doctors. I was like, finally, it's happening again. They can observe me while it's happening, and maybe we can figure out what causes this. And every ear, nose, and throat doctor was booked for months out in my whole region. So I called PinnacleCare and I said, what can I do? I cannot walk straight. And they did some research for me, and they called me back within a matter of just an hour or two, and they let me know, they're working on finding an appointment for me at ear, nose, and throat doctors, but in the meantime, here's a YouTube exercise that I can do. And there's actually an at-home exercise very similar to what the doctor does in the office. Of course, it's do-it-yourself, so it's not the medical expertise like the doctor would have, but I gave it a shot, and it worked. My vertigo went away and has not come back since. So I actually didn't take the appointment that they were finding for me with the ear, nose, and throat doctor, but that's just a very minor case where they were able to completely improve my condition just with their guidance and expertise. They can help with something as severe as, maybe your doctor's recommending a back surgery and you don't really want to take that invasive of a step yet. You want to see if there's something else you can try. They can review your medical records, get you connected to a specialist for a second opinion, and maybe there will be a different course of treatment offered there. Same thing with perhaps you or someone you love receives a cancer diagnosis and you want to see if there's any clinical trials out there instead of going the chemo and radiation route that your first doctor recommended. Any of these scenarios, PinnacleCare is your health advisor in your back pocket to call and ask for their guidance, ask for their expertise, ask for their research. They can also facilitate appointments for you, like they were going to do for my ear, nose, and throat doctor until I said, I'm better, I don't need this anymore at this time. But they can actually schedule the appointments for you. They have relationships with centers of excellence all over the country, so they can get an appointment much quicker than me calling the doctor on my own and trying to schedule an appointment. They can also transfer my medical records to that physician so I'm all set and ready for my appointment, and then follow up after the appointment to make sure I understand what happened in that appointment and what my treatment options are. PinnacleCare estimates that 77% of the cases that they've taken on have undergone some sort of change of either diagnosis, treatment, course of care, or treating physician due to their services. So the impact is quite grand, and it's always good for our own peace of mind, our own health, to know we have someone to call.
So that concludes the resources available in the care section of the plan Protect Care. And moving into Thrive, I think this is when we knew that our team would get along very well with Rosemary, Christine, and their team, because Thrive is something that was part of our longevity resources as it is, and Rosemary really lives this to a T. And so part of the planning when it comes to longevity resources is making sure you still feel that fire and have passion over potentially a part-time job if that's what makes you happy, or volunteering, or giving your time to something that still calls towards your original purpose while you are working. Some of the questions you might ask yourself are, what are the activities that I enjoy doing? How can I stay connected to my community? What are my goals, and how do I feel the most fulfilled? And so we'll now hear from Rosemary on Encore and the resources regarding finding your purpose.
Thank you, Sarah. Encore Palm Beach County is delighted to partner with Anne and her team at Raymond James to help people find purpose and meaning in retirement. And I want to congratulate Raymond James generally for expanding the concept of retirement planning beyond just the financial stuff, but these other important aspects and resources for people. Encore is a nonprofit based in Delray Beach, Florida, and was created 6 years ago to tap into the potential of people 50 plus to bring their skills, experience, and wisdom to our communities and our businesses. 10,000 people turn 65 every day and could live 30 years in retirement. The Stanford Center on Longevity and their research projects have been a big part of planning here at Encore Palm Beach County, because they've done extensive research demonstrating that volunteering and having purpose is a key factor in healthy aging, including volunteering pre-retirement. They have found that those people who volunteer before they retire are more likely to be volunteers after they retire. And so I have been a volunteer all my life. I feel that volunteering not only is good for engagement, but learning and meeting people, because one of the key problems in when people retire is that their contacts diminish, and volunteering as well as work brings you in contact with people. Isolation in retirement is a killer. That's been demonstrated. So we're very interested in the whole idea of engagement. For many people, work gives them a sense of purpose. While many view retirement as a time to relax and have fun, and I have nothing against fun, I'm a big believer in it myself, others find that after a time they miss having a purpose and want to find it again in part-time work. Maybe not full-time, but part-time work. And we all know that there are people who have lost their jobs or retired early during the pandemic and find that they now need to go back to work for income needs. Others who lost their jobs are looking for something to do. People contact us all the time. I have met people in their 70s who want to work because they are used to working. They like work. They had jobs that they enjoyed. And I can speak as one who has, well, I've been working since I was 15. Now I'm a working volunteer. And as everybody knows, I'm 83 years old. And I believe work is an important part of good health. I like to preach what I believe and live. So making time for purposeful engagement, whether it's work, whether it's volunteering, whether it's learning something new or in a hobby, not just a life of leisure, makes for a fuller, richer life in retirement. So for those who want more for their retirement, Encore works to connect people to age-friendly employers here in Palm Beach County, the resources to find work like search firms and job counselors, as well as nonprofits needing volunteers. And on our website, we have an evaluation form and coaches like Christine, who is on the call today, to help you find the right volunteer opportunity. On our website, you will also find information on our upcoming events like today's program. Every month since the beginning of the pandemic, we have held a Zoom event online around work and volunteering and health issues and staying engaged in life since the beginning of the pandemic. You'll also find employer job boards on our website, newsletters, and videos. And today's event will be converted from a recording into a YouTube video and will eventually be saved on our website. You can go on our website. We have a whole archive of saved YouTube events for you to enjoy. So go to Encore Palm Beach County, that's Encore PBC.org to sign up for our newsletter and find something new for yourself.
Thank you, Rosemary. That was a great synopsis of what Encore does, and I know I see some of Ann and I's clients on this call as well, so I hope they will sign up for the newsletter, explore some of the archived videos, because I think what you guys do is absolutely amazing. Wrapping up into our last item, Elena will have one more resource to share with us before we open it up for questions, but sharing in the sense of longevity planning, it's really leaving your legacy. And a legacy is so much more than what you'll physically leave behind. It's sharing the memories and the stories and making it really easy for the family that is still here after you're gone, because no one likes to talk about it, but there are some good resources to make that scenario as smooth as possible.
So lastly, we have Everplans. This is not related to EverSafe. That is a funny coincidence that the naming is so similar. If you get them confused, that's quite all right. Ann and Sarah will be able to help you differentiate which resource you're really looking for here. But Everplans is a life and legacy organization. So this is a platform where you can organize everything important to you in one place. Things like your wills, your trusts, your insurance policies, your online accounts and passwords. Maybe you own multiple different properties, you're a real estate manager, and you want to make sure that you're organizing the vendors for each property. Health and medical information. That is so, so, so important. Things like your medications and your allergies. I gifted Everplans to my mom explicitly for this purpose of the platform. She has a few underlying conditions and unfortunately a lot of medications. I know a few of them by heart, but I certainly don't know the dosage and the frequency by heart. So if something happened and a doctor asked me, what medicine does she take? I need to know that I can spit that answer right out and not have to drive to her house and pick up her medicine bag and bring it in and then let them read the medicine bottles. Instead, I can pull out my phone, go to everplans.com, and as her deputy, which I'll explain in a moment, as her deputy, I can see the information she's granted me access to see, part of that being medications. I do know, she's allergic to penicillin, so that is one that I will never forget. That's been drilled in my head since I was a speaking age. And that one is there for good, but her medications, I need the platform's assistance with. You can also put things like end-of-life wishes in here. I know it's something, like Sarah said, we don't want to think about a time when we aren't going to be here, but I would challenge you to think about it in a beautiful way instead. Instead of thinking about, I'm preparing to not be here anymore, think about, I'm preparing to live on years beyond my actual years here on Earth. I will not assume anyone's beliefs of what happens to us after that, but you can continue to live on through your loved ones, through their memories of you, through their stories. Make sure you document your story. You are writing letters to loved ones. It extends far beyond the funeral planning that none of us want to think about, and extends into your wishes, what you want to leave behind. If you're leaving wealth behind to your loved ones, how did you earn that wealth? Tell your story of your hard-earned savings so that the person who's inheriting that wealth knows how hard you worked and how hard they should work as well. So there's a lot of beautiful pieces in Everplans. I know it can be challenging to think about a time when you won't be here anymore, but it's really a gift that you can give to your loved ones, and it helps with everyday organization as well. I've already made a pretty comprehensive Everplans for myself. And you can share your Everplan with deputies. Deputies are your trusted people in your life, and you can choose what they can see and when. So you can customize. Maybe I want to share certain information with my sister. I want to share all of my information with my mom, and maybe I'll share with a significant other just a couple pieces of information. I can choose to do that. I can share some of that information now. Maybe I want to hide some information until after I'm gone, that letter that I've written telling them something I really wanted to share when I'm no longer here. That's something I can hide until after I'm gone for that individual. And then I can also choose to select never. Maybe my sister never needs my financial information, but my mom does. I can have that autonomy in the platform. This really is just a way to enhance that peace of mind just a little bit further. Gives you everyday organization, things like, I ordered a new passport recently, and as soon as it came in the mail, I took a picture of it with my phone and I uploaded it to Everplans and made a note of where I was keeping my actual passport, which makes it really nice. Like Anne mentioned, with the notebook she can help you create. Anne mentioned hurricanes. I evacuated for the last hurricane here. Luckily, we were completely okay. I hope you all were okay too, to the Florida residents on the call. But I pulled up my Everplans because I panicked. I was like, I don't remember where I put these important documents. And I pulled up my Everplans, saw the note that I wrote to myself, grabbed what I needed in hard copy, and evacuated. And I could grab a lot less than someone who maybe doesn't use Everplans because I also have the digital copies. So it can enhance peace of mind just on a daily basis as well. And again, it's just a gift to you and your loved ones, that you're providing that protection for yourself and communicating things with them, making your information accessible to the right people.
Your future is important. Once again, having a plan, you're way more likely to succeed or have at least thought about your options. And so we're here to be a resource, to be able to answer questions, just like Encore has so many resources. And you understand the resources. We help you get connected. If you wanted to go through our process of potentially becoming a client, we have a fit process we go through. Otherwise, Sarah and I are happy to offer a 20-minute Ask Us Anything little question and answer session. We would love to do that if someone has, wants to follow up. I know that our contact information will be sent to you if you don't already have it. And on behalf of Sarah and I and Elena from the home office,
Thank you very much. This has been a tremendous amount of information, and I commend you all and Raymond James for taking this subject to the next level, because having been exposed to everything that all of you have talked about, I realize the importance of all of this information, and thank you all for sharing that with us.